I'm sorry. Okay.
These are our judges.
Okay.
This is our sponsor from Suncoast.
All right, so again, welcome to the Lee County Battle of the Books. We want to thank, first of all, our sponsor, Suncoast Credit Union, and we do have Marta over here. She's representing Suncoast. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. And we have four judges, I'm sorry, that are here today. We have David and Julie Cole, or just David. That's okay. We've got Bob Deeren and Scott Higginbotham. So, are you guys ready for the Battle of the Books for 2016? All right, well, let's go ahead and get started then. Our first round. What is Patty compared to after her edges are worn off? What is Patty compared to after her edges are worn off? So 43% said B. I don't have a key of what the correct answers are. It was sea glass was the correct answer. Question 2, what type of motorcycle does Riley have? What type of motorcycle does Riley have? Time is up. The correct answer is D, Honda 350 Classic. Question number 3. What is the Chinese word for window? What is the Chinese word for window? The answer is A, Chuang. Question 4. What team was Jack's baseball team playing against when Jack won the game? What team was Jack's baseball team playing against when Jack won the game? B, the Astros. Next question, question number 5. How many degrees cooler did Quentin say it got for every 1,000 feet up? How many degrees cooler did Quentin say it got for every 1,000 feet up? A, 4. The next question is, according to Jeremy's research, what was not true of jackalopes? According to Jeremy's research, what was not true of jackalopes? All right, time is up. The answer is A, they preferred to eat and hunt at night. That was not true. Question number 7. Who was Katie named after? Who was Katie named after? Answer is A, her father's mother. Question 8. In Seeing Red, Miss Miller had a quote written on her chalkboard. What was that quote? In Seeing Red, Miss Miller had a quote written on her chalkboard. What was that quote? The answer is B, the truth will set you free. How did Skink hurt his foot? How did Skink hurt his foot? Answer is C. He was trying to save a skunk from something. It was cut off from being run over. What did the jeweler think the A pin was made of? What did the jeweler think the A pin was made of? Answer is C, 24 karat gold. All right, you're halfway through this round. Question number 11. How much did Molly and Kip get paid to work for Master Windsor and Constance? How much did Molly and Kip get paid to work for Master Windsor and Constance? The answer was C, they worked for free. Question 12. What does the tree take as payment for the gifts it gives? What does the tree take as payment for the gifts it gives? Time is up. The answer is A, a single drop of your soul. Question 13. What is Sia's full name? What is Sia's full name? Answer was A, Malencia. Question 14. Name the first North American cities destroyed by the Midwestern Coalition. Name the first North American cities destroyed by the Midwestern Coalition. Time's up. Answer was D, Washington, D.C. and Boston. Question 15. What was the name of the club that was supposed to make Ratchet girly? What was the name of the club that was supposed to make Ratchet girly? Good job. Get Charmed was the answer, and everyone got it right. Question 16. How old is Ratchet? How old is Ratchet? The answer is A, 11. What was the brown sauce that Ratchet thought was a leak? What was the brown sauce that Ratchet thought was a leak? The answer is D, chocolate sauce. Question number 18. Who wrote Ratchet's dad a letter of sympathy about his wife? Who wrote Ratchet's dad a letter of sympathy about his wife? The answer is B, Sandy. Question 19. What did the Gennons do to Lonnie's mom? What did the Gennons do to Lonnie's mom? Answer is C, cut her tongue in half. And the final question for the first round. In the book, what was the short story by Ernest Hemingway called? In the book, what was the short story by Ernest Hemingway called? The answer was A, My Old Man. All right, give yourselves a round of applause. We got through the first round. Great job. What we're doing now is we're tabulating all of that and seeing who got the most questions right. All right, so while we're waiting for the results to come in, oh, yes. I don't know. There was a question about Ratchet's Age. They said she turned 12 in the book, right? Other people said no. And if we can do it like right after the question so that we can get on it right away, it's easier for us to find which question we asked. Lots of costumes out here today, so I'm gonna kind of go around and ask like how you guys came up with the different costumes. Now I recognize some of y'all's costumes from last year, right? Yes? Okay, so how did we come up with the costume?
Well, we stuck with last year's, except we tried to add more creative stuff.
So last year's theme, what's kind of the theme that you guys have? Love the suspenders.
Fedoras.
Fedoras, I like it. And where are you guys from?
Paul Lawrence Dunbar Middle.
And reigning champs, right? Yes, okay. We got some more. I've seen some very interesting hats and ears over in this direction. So we're gonna start with you because we've got a swim cap and an eye patch. Kind of explain the theme we're going with here.
Okay, our idea for costumes was we would have a prop for one of the books, and I got Skink No Surrender, so I'm Skink from that book.
And your name and where are you guys from?
We're from Challenger.
From Challenger. We brought a toaster. Are we hungry?
In Tesla's attic, he got hit by a toaster, so.
And then you, sir, have a plant growing on the top of your head.
Yes, I do. It's for Jungle of Bones, kind of symbolize the jungle.
Well, I love all the creativity that you guys have. So now we've got a bunch of cats. Yes? No? Cats?
We're cougar warriors, I guess, cause we're Calusa, so Calusa Cougars.
So you guys went with the school theme versus a book theme. Got it. Love it. Okay, we're going to move down here. I noticed that you guys like have stickers and some like war paint going on.
The BB is book battle, and then the TMS is for Trafalgar Middle School, which is our middle school.
Very good. I love the creativity you guys have. All right, so who are you guys representing today?
We're from the Sanibel School.
Yeah, so did you bring any like shells to share with us?
We did not, but we have a lot of them where we're from.
That's what I hear. All right, you guys, we've got beads, we've got hats, and we've got like the book cover stuck on the hats, right? Where are you guys from?
We're from Okamic.
Okamic, so how did you guys come up with your costumes?
We went to Party City.
Very good. Very honest. I like that. And you guys are kind of going with like a party beach theme. What do we got going on here? Where are you guys from?
Lexington Middle School. Our idea was just to have our own hats and T-shirts and kind of do our own thing with our own style. Yeah. Yeah.
Personalize it. I like it. All right, what about you guys? We got some crazy hats going on down here. Where are you guys from?
Fort Myers Middle Academy.
And where did you guys come up with your theme?
We just thought hats would be cool, and then just the shirts.
What about you guys? Where are you guys from?
We're from Varsity Lakes Middle School.
Yeah, and we've got our school spirit with our colors and everything. Yeah? All right, well, good job, guys. All right, let's move on back here. We've got the red team. Where are you guys from?
North Fort Myers Academy for the Arts.
North Fort Myers Academy for the Arts. And is this y'all's first time? Are you new to this, or have you done this before?
I've done this before.
How many years have you done it?
2. I was in 3rd grade last time I did it.
So this is the first time doing it for the middle school then? Ah, very good. Whoa, I missed you guys. I'm going to slide through here. I want to know how long it took for you guys to put together your face paint and all of your costumes today.
Well, it took us like 30 minutes, and it's because of her dad. And she's supposed to be a jungle, and we're the bones.
Ah, Jungle Bones. I like that. Very creative. So your dad does makeup like for a living? He's a costume? He's an artist. Well, he's very good. All right, we've got capes and cats over here. Where are you guys from?
Diplomat Middle.
And kind of explain your costumes a little bit.
We're superheroes.
Superheroes? Like cat superheroes?
Yeah.
Are you guys the Wildcats? Is that your mascot? Got it. All right, one more over here. You guys got all fancy for us today. Who's your spokesperson? Will be?
We're from Gulf Middle School, and we're dressed as Dapper Dolphins, because we're well-read, and Dapper Dolphins always dress like fine gentlemen.
I like that. What about the ladies on your team, though?
They look fine.
Fine gentlewomen. He said they look fine, don't they? I like that. Very good. Very PC. Very smart. And we've got our tie-dye team over here. Where are you guys from?
We're from Mariner Middle School.
Mariner Middle School. And why did you guys pick the tie-dye shirts? They're very cool. I like them.
We couldn't pick a color, and we just chose them all.
Hey, that makes sense.
And on the back of our shirts, we have TNT for Totally Nifty Tritons.
Ah, TNT. What was it? Totally Nifty Tritons? Did I get it right? You're dynamite. I like that. I like that. And where are you guys from?
Bonita Middle.
Bonita Middle. And why did you pick your gray? I like the gray.
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
We decided that the simplest was best. We decided to focus on the books instead of the costumes.
Well, okay. We got some bright kiddos out here. My goodness. All right, everyone stand up. And get your wiggles out. Big stretch, whatever you want to do, because we're going to go through another round here in a minute. All right, and everyone can sit back down now. All right, who is ready for round 2? All right, same thing. We've got 20 questions. I'm going to read the question twice, and then the music will start. Okay, everyone get your clickers out and get ready, because here we go. Question number 1, round 2. What was the name of Willow Chance's elementary school? What was the name of Willow Chance's elementary school? The answer is C, Rose Elementary. Question number 2. According to Mrs. King, which one of these is not a hallmark of most preschool picture books? According to Mrs. King, which one of these is not a hallmark of most preschool picture books? The answer is C. Simple pictures are not a hallmark of most preschool picture books, according to Mrs. King. Question number 3. When Jax looks at a photo of his dad at the Grand Canyon, what is his father wearing? When Jax looks at a photo of his dad at the Grand Canyon, what is his father wearing? The answer is C, a Hawaiian shirt. Question 4. What did the binary code on Risha's notebook spell? What did the binary code on Risha's notebook spell? The answer is C, a person's name. A person's name. Question 5. The Flex created a volunteer organization for kids to take food to the elderly. It's called what? The Flex created a volunteer organization for kids to take food to the elderly called what? Okay, sorry, we had a question on the previous. Did you say we have a challenge on the previous question? Okay, so we have a challenge on the previous question. The binary code. So what was the binary code on Risha's binder spelling out or something along those lines? The answer that we got was a person's name. Okay, so the answer is correct. The binary code did have a person's name. So question number 5, again. The Flex created a volunteer organization for kids to take food to the, yes. I'm sorry? We haven't started 5 yet. I'm sorry? It's already telling you got it wrong? It's fine, okay? Okay. The Flex created a volunteer organization for kids to take food to the elderly called what? The Flex created a volunteer organization for kids to take food to the elderly called what? Time's up. The correct answer is D, service. Question number 6. Mrs. Fleck is so intense that she makes Jack's dad seem like a what? Mrs. Fleck is so intense that she makes Jack's dad seem like a what? The answer is C, marshmallow. Question 7. What was the capital of Dutch New Guinea? What was the capital of Dutch New Guinea? Time is up, and the answer is C, Hollandia. Question number 8 in round 2. What type of currency do they use in Papua New Guinea? What type of currency do they use in Papua New Guinea? And the answer is B, Kina. Next question, question number 9. Who wanted to meet and get details about the jackalope on Mad Scientist International? Who wanted to meet and get details about the jackalope on Mad Scientist International? The answer is A, GS892C99. Question 10, halfway through this round. What year, what story? What year does what story take place? It just says this story. Seeing Red. What year does Seeing Red take place? What year does Seeing Red take place? Answer is A, 1972. Question 11. What was that phrase that became the nickname for the ivory-billed woodpecker? What was that phrase that became the nickname for the ivory-billed woodpecker? Answer is B, Lord God Bird. Question 12. Which poet is Skink quoting when he says, "A dream has power to poison sleep"? Which poet is Skink quoting when he says, "A dream has power to poison sleep"? The answer is A, Shelley. Shelley was the answer. Question 13. What kind of mushrooms did the lunch lady buy? What kind of mushrooms did the lunch lady buy? Time is up. The answer is A, porcini mushrooms. Question 14. Where did Alistair think his father was taking the things he had pilfered from the house? Where did Alistair think his father was taking the things he had pilfered from the house? The answer is D, to the pawn shop. To the pawn shop was the answer. What is Kip's favorite thing to drink? What is Kip's favorite thing to drink? A, fresh cream. Fresh cream was the answer. Question 16. Hester Kettle carried a hurdy-gurdy. What is a hurdy-gurdy? Hester Kettle carried a hurdy-gurdy. What is a hurdy-gurdy? Time is up. The answer is D, an instrument. An instrument. Next question. Will and Gil say that they share a brain. Which part did Will have? Will and Gil say they share a brain. Which part did Will have? The answer is C, English and languages was the part that Will had. What did Will say was Sia's Achilles heel? What did Will say was Sia's Achilles heel? Answer is B, her trusting nature. Who was the editor of the newspaper? Who was the editor of the newspaper? A, Martin Pardell was the editor of the newspaper. Question 20, last one in this round. Where is Eduardo from? Where is Eduardo from? Time's up. Answer is C, Guatemala. All right, that's it for round 2. Good job.
All right, everybody take a deep breath. Those were tough questions. You know why? Because you guys sent in tough questions. Most of the time, our student questions were harder than the staff questions. So give yourselves a hand. If it was hard, it was good. Good thinking. All right. We have something special planned for you right now. We're going to just see. Wait. We don't want to call. We want to. Go back. So he's going to see, he could see you over here.
Hi. How you guys doing? Wow,
All right,
big
so I'm
room.
guessing you guys know who this is, right? Yeah. All right, so we have the honor and privilege of getting to ask Mr. Tommy Greenwald questions about his book. So, first of all, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. You guys like my dog shirt?
All right, who wants to ask the first question? Oh, there it is. We
That's
got
my dog shirt.
You guys had your hands up pretty quickly. All right, first question.
What made you think of the book Jack Strong Takes a Stand?
Well, that's a good question. I think the answer is that I'm assuming most of you guys have read it or know of it, right? Okay, so if you asked my kids, they would tell you that they were overscheduled themselves. I refused to believe it, of course, but as I got a little bit older and my kids got a little bit older, I did realize that it was a huge problem out there and one that I may have participated in where kids are just running around these days to so many different kinds of activities, sports and dance class or after school activities, weekend activities, that maybe it's come to the point where kids are just doing too many things and they're not allowed to just relax and veg out as much as they want to. Now, I'm sure kids, of course, find plenty of time to get in front of the video games and stare at their phones, for hours on end sometimes. But I do think that there's a tendency among parents to freak out if their kids aren't busy doing something every second. And so I just thought what if I took that situation and made it a little bit extreme and made it a little bit funny and made this one kid just decide to fight back by lying down? And so that's kind of where the idea came from.
Okay, another question. Let's go to a different team now.
How did you determine how many kids it took to lift the couch?
A, that's a good question, and B, I can't even remember how many there are. Are there 5? 4?
6 or 7, they're saying.
I would probably fail the Battle of the Books quiz, but I kind of just figured out in my head. I took a look at my own couch, and I had my kids kind of help guess with me. Of course, they're now in college, so they're much bigger and stronger. But I decided that it would be the amount of kids that I could fit into the scene without having to worry about coming up with too many different characters and confusing the reader with too many different names. So it was both a educated guess and a storytelling device that led me to that answer.
All right, anyone over here?
Good question, though. Geez, that's a tough one.
Okay, your question.
How long did it take you to write the book, and what problems did come along the way?
What prompted me to what?
How long did it take you to write Jack Strong Takes a Stand, and what problems did you encounter during your endeavor?
Oh, what problems did I encounter? Well, most books take about a year from start to finish. That doesn't mean you're writing that whole time, because there's a lot of waiting involved. You write a first draft, then you wait for maybe over 3 months, and then you wait maybe 2 months until your editor tells you what she thinks of it and makes her suggestions or his suggestions on what she thinks you should change. And then you take another draft, take another 2 months to write the second draft, and then the illustrator's hired. Now, one thing that might surprise you guys is that not only do I not illustrate my own books, I have never met the people that illustrate my books. They tend to live far away, and they kind of work by themselves after the story is done. So then I wait for that to happen, and then I take one more look at the book to make sure that the story and the pictures are working together. So altogether, it's about a year. Now, you always encounter the same problems along the way. At least I do in all my books. Sometimes the story veers off in a direction where it's not making sense based on what happened earlier in the book, even though I try to map out all my stories ahead of time with a synopsis before I start writing. Invariably, there will be some time during the writing of a book where the story isn't working out the way you want to, and you have to go back and fix something at the beginning. And then you have to make sure that the voice that you're writing in feels realistic. For myself, I'm always trying to write books that are narrated by kids who are 12 and 13, both boys and girls, and I'm obviously slightly older than 12 or 13. So I'm constantly struggling to make sure I get the voice just right, that kind of stuff. And then, but when your writing is finished, the journey is far from over. Then the book has to get laid out and printed and published, and that takes another year sometimes. So from starting a book to actually seeing it in a bookshelf or a library usually takes around 2 years.
There was a question back here. Someone had their hand up very patiently.
What made you think of the character Jack?
Well, Jack popped up in the third Charlie Joe Jackson book, I believe it was, Charlie Joe Jackson's Guide to Summer Vacation. Raise your hands if you're familiar with the Charlie Joe books, because they are my first series, and Jack Strong is a friend of Charlie Joe's when he goes to this summer camp for overachievers called Camp Read a Bookie, all about how to read and write and learn. And Charlie Joe, as some of you probably know, is a real slacker who makes it his mission in life to do as little work as possible. And I wanted to see if I could write a book about a boy who was kind of the opposite of Charlie Joe, who had spent his whole life working really hard and worrying about how much he was achieving, and completely the opposite of a lazy slacker. So when I had Charlie Joe meet Jack Strong in the third Charlie Joe Jackson book, I looked at this character and said, maybe I should write a book about this kid. And that's when the idea of the problem of overscheduled kids popped into my head, and I decided that Jack would be a perfect ambassador to address that issue.
All right. Your question.
Were you ever overscheduled when you were a kid?
It's a good question. I don't think I was. Now, my parents used to make me practice piano a lot, which got on my nerves. But I really think the whole epidemic of overscheduled kids is a pretty recent phenomenon. I think as it's gotten more intense out there and more competitive, and there's so many more things you can do after school if you want to, and if your parents want you to, and if you, and obviously, it's somewhat up to the kids whether they want to do these things or not. And usually half the things they're doing they love, and the other half they're doing they're kind of rolling their eyes about. So I remember doing things I loved for the most part, but not having to do too many things that I didn't like. And nowadays I think that's slightly different. Kids are both doing some things that they don't love, and those things that they do love, they're doing way too much. When I was a kid, if you were a good baseball player, you played Little League in the spring, and that was kind of it. Now, if people think you're a good baseball player, when you're 10, 11, 12 years old, they want you to play all year round, every day. Baseball, 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 baseball. So it's the specializing and the overscheduling combination that I think is putting a lot of stress on kids these days. Yay!
How are your dogs? Because in the back of the book you said you love your dogs.
You want to see my dogs?
That was a big yes.
Coco, Abby, come here. I may have to take my computer over to them because they're lazy. This is Coco. Oh, there's Abby. There's Coco. Hi, everybody. I'm Coco. I totally love my dogs. That's true. Oh, Abby wants to go outside, so I'm going to let her outside, even though it's raining out. Come on, you. Go ahead. I do love my dogs. I put dogs in all my books, as you guys probably know if you've read more than one of my books. I grew up with dogs. I always had at least one dog, usually two, from the very earliest age. So it was only a matter of time before I started writing a book about dogs. And this book, this is my newest book, Crime Biters, and it's all about dogs. So I've always been very, very attached to dogs, and it's fun to write about them, and I'm lucky because kids like to read about dogs too, so it works out for everybody.
Oh, and by the way, Mr. Greenwald mentioned Crime Biters. The winning team gets an autographed copy of that book.
Nice. This dog, Crime Biters, is about my dog Abby, who's like the craziest dog in the world. So, she kind of looks like that.
Why did you have Jack's Nana go into cardiac arrest at the end of the book?
Plot twist. It's a good question. I felt like I didn't want to do anything too over dramatic, but at the same time, I wanted something very important and intense to happen so that everybody could take a step back and say, you know what, we're all acting a little crazy here. We're all being a little too intense. We're all being a little too inside our own. Let's just take a step back and figure out that I might not be exactly right. You might not be exactly right. There's some way to reason with each other and meet in the middle. And so it kind of took an event like that to make them all realize that they were all being a little crazy.
Of all the books that you've written, which one is your personal favorite?
Well, that's a good question. I would have to say my first book is the one that got me published. So that will always have a special place in my heart, of course. That's Charlie Joe's Guide to Not Reading. But I also think, like everything you do, whether it's play basketball or dance or play cello or sew dresses, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I think I am a better writer now than I was when I started writing books. And I didn't start that long ago. I started about 6 or 7 years ago, my first book. So I think my Crime Biters book is really good. I love my first book. And the other two books I think are the most interesting are probably Jack Strong and my book, Katie Friedman Gives Up Texting, because it's the only book so far that I've written from a girl's perspective. And it's about kids being addicted to their phones, which is this whole other thing that we could talk about for hours. Not just kids, of course. Adults are addicted to their phones too. But that book is about a girl who tries to give up her phone for a week just to see if she can do it. And of course, she runs into all sorts of problems.
I have two questions. First off, how did you feel when you found out that your book was awarded for Sunshine State?
Well, I felt amazing. I felt so grateful. You guys have been so awesome to me down there. My first book, Charlie Joe Jackson's Guide to Not Reading, was on the Sunshine list maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And that was my first book, and I didn't really know anything about anything. So I asked around, I said, what is this? Is this good? What does this mean? And everybody said being on the Sunshine list is the most amazing thing that can happen to you as an author, because the kids take the Battle of the Book stuff so seriously, and they're all going to read your book and find out about your characters. So just having it happen once back then was amazing. And then to know that you guys put me back on the list this year was an honor and a thrill. It's always the greatest feeling in the world. True.
What exactly did you want kids our age to learn from your books?
I wanted them to learn the value of working hard at things you're interested in and things you love, but also to remember that relaxing and having fun is just an important part of growing up as hard work is. And I wanted adults and parents to read the book and remember and realize that while it's very important to give their kids opportunity, there can come a point when you're trying to give them too much opportunity and losing sight of the fact that it's very important to let your kids just be kids.
What made you think of Mrs. Flack?
Mrs. Fleck. Well, there's always parents like Mrs. Fleck, right? I mean, I think, I certainly know a few. Not myself at all, I hope. But there are some parents who just love their kids so much and they want them to do well and their hearts are in the right place, but they forget that it's important to also be gracious and to be kind to others, especially other kids. So she was just representative of that kind of person that is out there. And if someone like that read the book and saw themselves in that character, maybe it would help them realize that they need to not be quite so intense, because none of the kids benefit from them, especially their own kids.
Do you enjoy being an author, and do you think it's something that most people would enjoy?
I think if you like telling stories and you like to entertain other people, kids or adults, then being a writer is great. Now, being a writer doesn't mean you have to be a storyteller. There's all sorts of ways to be a writer. But if you want to be a fiction writer, then you have to love to read You have to love to learn the structure of storytelling, how a good story has a beginning and a middle and an end, to put it the most simple way possible. And then you have to love to work hard, because writing is hard work, and rewriting and rewriting. And you have to be patient, because you might write something that's really good, but people around you or people you show it to don't really realize that yet. You have to have faith in yourself. So it's an incredibly wonderful, rewarding way to spend time, but you have to go into it knowing that it's hard work and there's some patience involved, and sometimes there's even some luck involved. But being able to tell stories that kids read and enjoy and are entertained by and laugh at and possibly even learn a little something from, there's no better thing than that, that's for sure. So I'm incredibly lucky that I get to do that.
Why did you start writing?
Why? Was that the question?
Yes, why did you start writing?
I've always written certain kinds of things. I wrote a musical, and I used to write funny articles for newspapers. I started writing children's books because my three boys, Charlie, Joe, and Jack, did not like to read. And after trying to find things that would make them like to read, I decided maybe the problem was I couldn't find the perfect book that they liked, and maybe the issue is that it doesn't exist. And so I said, maybe I'll try to write it. And so my very first book, Charlie Joe Jackson's Guide to Not Reading, was written to get kids who think they don't like to read by kind of tricking them into thinking they're reading a book about how to avoid other books, but they're really just reading a book that they enjoy. And I'm lucky that kids who like to read like my books too, and I'm very grateful for that. But the original reason that I wrote the first book was to get reluctant readers to read a book.
Is there something that you did when you were a child that you regret, and what is it?
That came out of nowhere. If there's something I did as a child that I regret, no. The only thing I can think of that I regret a little bit is in college, I didn't try out for the humor magazine that was on my campus. And so even though I was already doing some writing at that point, I didn't start really seeing if I could be a writer until much later, and I kind of wish I had done it earlier. If I could do it all over again, I would have been beginning the writing process and my career as a writer much younger than I ended up doing. So if any of you guys who think you do want to be writers, don't be shy or don't wait. Start practicing your craft now. Start figuring out now what kind of writer you think you might want to be. It's never too early to kind of work that stuff out. And I wish I had done it a little earlier myself.
For Jack's instrument, why did you choose a cello?
Because it's kind of a big pain in the neck. You know, I wanted him, first of all, my brother played cello and he didn't like it very much. Now Jack is a good cello player, but it kind of represents a little bit of a burden just because he's got this big cello, he's got this big case, he's got to lug it around. It's not an easy thing to commit to. It's a real commitment to be willing to carry this heavy instrument around, and it's just bulky. And so I thought it was kind of a good way to express the level of effort and commitment he had to give to all his various activities.
What advice do you have for like writers that like want to get published?
My first advice is to write a story, obviously, but you know, don't get discouraged if it takes a while to have something written that you think is worthy of being published. Don't feel that the first thing you write and finish is the thing that should get published, because oftentimes every writer will tell you they wrote 3 or 4 or 5 or more things that didn't get published before they finally wrote that thing that got them published. It always takes time. It always takes patience. So you have to persevere, you have to keep going, and then eventually you will be seen, you will be heard, you will be read, and your talent will be recognized. Even if it's not right away, it will happen if you keep to it.
Whatever made you think of Nana's tongue sandwich, and have you ever made it yourself and ate it?
No. My grandmother, who was also called Nana, loved tongue sandwiches. So that whole character is kind of based on my grandmother, although my grandmother didn't do yoga. But the tongue sandwich thing, I probably never would have thought of myself. I probably wouldn't even have known it existed. But she and I used to go to the delicatessen, and she would order a tongue sandwich, and I would gag, and I would go, how can you eat that? And she would put salt on it and just say it was the most delicious, greatest thing in the world. But I never, ever even could get myself to taste her sandwich. I just thought it was so wrong.
Did you learn anything while writing Jack Strong Takes a Stand?
Did I learn anything? Well, I think I learn something every time I write a book. I don't know if it's a specific thing. It's just more about how to write books, how to pace the story, and how to develop characters, and how to have a combination of humor and thoughtfulness and even some emotion toward the end of that book. I will say Jack Strong is the first book I wrote, which I think was my fourth book, in which I have something as dramatic as Nana's cardiac arrest in any of my books. My first three books were all kind of just funny, goofy books. And I liked the idea, which I did learn from Jack Strong, that I could combine my usual comedy with something a little bit more intense and a little bit more dramatic, and it could still work. So that was important to me. Good question.
Have you read any of the Sunshine State books?
Probably, although I can't remember exactly what's on the list, but I know my good buddy Jeff Rodkey just got put on the list for this year with the Tapper twins, right? Have you guys seen the new list yet? That's a really funny book, and you guys will enjoy that when you get to it.
Why'd you choose a couch but not a bed or a chair?
Because a chair, everybody kind of, that's a good question. Definitely not a bed, because I didn't want him to go to his room. That would be kind of depressing, right? I'm just going to my room, and my bedroom, and I'm shutting the door. I wanted him to be among the family and to do stuff like watch TV and hang out with the family. And I think a chair just doesn't seem as relaxing. You can't lie down on a chair. You can't take a nap. You can't take a snooze. So a couch seemed the right way for him to be very cozy and comfortable, but also out amongst the people.
Do you think you'll give Jack another book?
Probably not. I feel like that was kind of his story. If there was a crazy demand for it and the sales of the first one went crazy, my publisher might ask me for one, and then I would think about it. But as of now, there are no plans to do it. Karen, I think I have time for two more questions, okay?
Have your kids inspired any of your writing?
They sure have. They have inspired my whole first series, Charlie Joe Jackson. He's named after them, because my kids are named Charlie, Joe, and Jack. So my whole idea, as I said a few minutes ago, my whole reason for becoming a children's book author was based on kids like my own, who are awesome kids and great and funny and interesting kids who just happen to not like reading, and maybe getting them to realize that there are some books out there that they would love.
Here's your final question.
Okay.
What are one of your favorite books that you have, that you didn't write?
Well, children's books, I mentioned Jeff Rodkey's books. Those are really funny. I love my friend Lauren Tarshish, who I actually grew up with, writes the I Survived books, and those are great. Growing up, I loved Shel Silverstein and Roald Dahl. And, if you read the first Charlie Joe Jackson book, he has these tips throughout the book. And one of his tips is you have to have one book you've read, because if someone ever asks you what's your favorite book, you have to be able to answer them. And his answer is The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein, which is a book that I loved too growing up. And the first book I ever remember reading and loving, and that made me fall in love with reading as a kid, because I loved reading as a kid, which is another reason why I was so sad that my own kids didn't, was the picture book Are You My Mother, which I talk about with kids in schools all the time, and it's still out there, and kids read it all the time. So those are just a few of the books that I've loved over the years.
Well, before we let you go, if there's anyone that either is dressed up to represent his book or has like a sign or a hat for his book, we want you to come up here so that we can show them real quick. I see a couple of signs, a couple of hats.
What's this big gathering anyway?
This is the Battle of the Books. And so these
So
are all
there-
of the
is it-
teams, and they
Is it about to happen?
I'm sorry?
Is the battle about to happen?
We've had 2 rounds already, so we're about to do like one of the final rounds.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know if you can see, but
It's a
we've
little
got
it's a little blurry. What is that?
the book on a hat and the book
Oh,
on
I
like
see
a.
that. That's awesome.
So these are representations for your book here today.
Thanks, you guys. They're so great. Vote for Jack. If there's voting, vote for Jack. That's all I know.
And thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We had a good time.
You're very welcome, Karen. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
All right, we are going to go to a break now, and I have a little bit of a change to, not a huge change, but we are sending you to really 3 different places for break. We just don't have a lot of space, so we had to use 3 different areas. So families, if you want to, the parents and guests today, if you want to go down, we have a cafe at the end of the hall that sells coffee, and the code to get back in is 1980. So just remember 1980, and you can punch back in. We're going to send the teams that start with B and C and Fort Myers Middle to Training Room A and B. And the rest of you are going to go down to the Curriculum Resource Room. But listen carefully. When you get to the Curriculum Resource Room, there are 5 tables on the outside of the room and 6 tables on the inside of the room. So if you don't see your bag with your school's name on it on the outside of the room, kind of try and find your table first. Then you go on inside, because I have snacks in both places. I have separate snacks for the coaches that are marked coaches only, okay? So, and for the people in the Curriculum Resource Room, the coaches' snacks are all inside. So there's just one coach's station over there. Everybody got it? What? Oh, turn your clickers back in, please. Thank you for saying that. Please turn your clickers back in. You get a special prize for that. We're going to come.
All right, we have the list of the 8 teams that are moving on to the final round. 8. Yes, 8. As I call your name, come forward and get your clicker. Oh, okay. Our first team is Bonita Middle School. Our next team, Calusa Middle School. Our third team moving on to the finals, Challenger Middle School. Next up, Diplomat Middle School. Yep, they're coming. Gulf Middle School. No, this is Diplomat. Gulf is over there. Lexington. Mariner. And finally, PL Dunbar. All right, those are your 8 finalists moving on for the title of the winner. Before we get started, we're going to let our 8 finalists take a quick breath, and I want to recognize one of our school board members, Pam LaRiviere, who's here.
It's wonderful seeing all of you guys here, and I'm amazed at some of the wonderful attire that you've developed for your schools. It's neat, very creative and very exciting. I remember coming here, having coached my team when I was at Three Oaks Middle School, and being here and preparing them for the book battle. And I'm sorry to say I haven't read this year's books. However, I've been given a few ideas of which ones are the best to read and which ones are not. But I've perused and found a few that are going to be definitely going to be part of my summer reading. I just want you to know how thrilled I am that you're out there reading the books and finding pleasure in the reading. I pray that you would share that and spread that love with your friends. And how many of you guys are 8th graders this year? Whoa. I hope you keep that joy of reading and doing your own personal reading as you go into high school. There's going to be a lot that's going to be required of you for reading. But find some time to read some of the things that you want to read that give you pleasure and thrill your soul. Good luck to the last remaining 8. And thank you for the rest of you who are going to be phenomenal audience members and supportive of everyone who's still in the game.
All right, so a couple of things before we get started. The first thing is all of you 8 teams that are competing are now all have 0 points. So you're all starting at the same level, okay? So everything starts over. The next thing is for the remaining teams who did not move on to the finals. As Ms. LaRiviere just mentioned, we're going to be a good audience. That means while the other teams are discussing their answers, you guys can feel free to answer along, but don't be shouting out the answers so that either they can hear or you're shouting out the wrong answers intentionally so they can hear. We want to make sure that all of our 8 teams are getting the fair chance to win the competition today. Anything else? Are we ready to get started? Finalists, are you guys ready to get started? All right. Question number 1 in the final round for the Battle of the Books. What is Willow comparing herself to when she says she is attaching herself to the ground underneath her? What is Willow comparing herself to when she says she is attaching herself to the ground underneath her? The answer is D, a sunflower. Next question. And there are 20 questions again, just like in the preliminary rounds. Who was Riley descended from? Who was Riley descended from? I think the answer was A, Arthur Pendragon. Question number 3. Evangeline's mother had a talent for prognostication. What does the word prognostication mean? Evangeline's mother had a talent for prognostication. What does the word prognostication mean? The answer is B, predict the future. Question 4. How many folders deep in the 2048 taxes file was the AGM-AB file? How many folders deep in the 2048 taxes file was the AGM-AB file? The answer is C, 5 folders deep. When Jaden makes a grass whistle, what bird does it sound like? When Jaden makes a grass whistle, what bird does it sound like? The answer is D, a crow. Question number 6. Are you challenging? Nope, never mind. According to Jack, who is the most famous cellist of all time? According to Jack, who is the most famous cellist of all time? The answer is D, Pablo Casals. Question 7. What 2 metaphors did Dylan use to describe himself while walking through the swamp? What 2 metaphors did Dylan use to describe himself while walking through the swamp? Time's up. Answer is D. He was a car running out of gas, and he was a pebble tossed into a huge ocean. Question 8. In what way did the jackalope look a little like Hortense? In what way did the jackalope look a little like Hortense? Answer is C, the fangs. Next question. What was the capital of Katkajan? What was the capital of Katkajan? A. Talk. All of you guys got that right. Good job. Halfway through the final round. What does Bo do when he gets nervous? What does Bo do when he gets nervous? C, tugs on his hair. Good job. All you guys got that one right too. Next question. The Freedom Church altar was made of what? The Freedom Church altar was made of what? The answer was B. Again, all you guys got this right. Looks like we could end up going to a tiebreaker round if y'all keep this up. Next question. What was the honest to God miracle that happened to Richard in the canoe? What was the honest to God miracle that happened to Richard in the canoe? Time's up. Answer is C. He caught a 5-pound bass. Question lucky number 13. Oh, it's Friday the 13th today, too. What does NORAD stand for? What does NORAD stand for? Time is up. The answer is D, North American Aerospace Defense Command. Do we have a challenge? Yes, there's a challenge to that question. So you guys are arguing it stands for what?
Not the last one.
Well, then what are you saying it is? You have to have an alternative. So they're arguing the answer is C. They're arguing that the answer is C. The correct answer, according to you guys, was D. Which book was it? The what? North American Aerospace Defense Command is the answer. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. No. This is their What is it saying?
I keep saying that I got it incorrect. Yeah, they didn't ask the question.
Yes. I gotcha. So we just answered number 13, but their computer or clicker is saying that they answered number 14 wrong. But they just answered number 13. You haven't asked 14 yet. Yours is saying that too? So we haven't asked. I know, but what they're saying is it's telling them they've submitted answers for 14 when they haven't. Is it just because you stopped it and so they're okay? So it's not saying that you guys have submitted for this next one yet. It's because she stopped the question. So if there's a problem once it starts up again, then let us know. But it should be good once she hits play. So is everyone ready for question 14 now? Okay. You guys believed her when she read it out of the book, correct? Yeah. They're good. The clicker's all working now? Okay. Petula prepared for her first real kiss by kissing her what? Petula prepared for her first real kiss by kissing her what? Time is up. Answer is B, her chihuahua. Her chihuahua. Question number 15. For Petula, there was no feeling worse than this. For Petula, there was no feeling worse than this. The answer is D, helplessness. Helplessness was the correct answer. Question 16. It was early March, but it felt like what month of the year? What book is this out of? Which one? So everyone knows which book they're talking about then, right? No question. Okay. It was early March, but it felt like what month of the year? Answer was A, October. October was the correct answer. Question number 17. What is the square in Five Lakes Colony shaped like? What is the square in Five Lakes Colony shaped like? The answer is C, a turtle. Answer was a turtle. Question 18. What was Ratchet's real name? What was Ratchet's real name? Good job. The answer was D, Rachel. 2 more questions to go. Question 19. What year and make of car did Ratchet's dad plan to give her for her 16th birthday? What year and make of car did Ratchet's dad plan to give her for her 16th birthday? D, a Mustang 1964. And the final question for our final round is, why was the lot named Ponzini? Why was the lot named Ponzini? Time is up. The answer is B. Ponzini fell off the fence and got the wind knocked out of him. That's it for the final round. Pretty soon we're going to have a new winner. That's pretty exciting. You guys have done a really great job. So there were 14 books and an additional book. All of these you guys had to read and know everything about them, right? That's very impressive, I have to say. Very impressed. Okay. So last year, we have last year's winner here from PL Dunbar. And something that's really cool, since the trophy gets to travel around to the winning schools, we wanted to make sure that you guys had a trophy that you could take back with you. So we've made like a retroactive trophy for 2015 that you're going to be able to take back with you. Karen, do we have that? The trophy? Where is it? So if you guys want to come on up. So here's your trophy that you guys get to take back to your school. If you guys want to come up here, you guys can take your pictures. And do you guys have a camera or anything? I'll take a picture for you guys. Oh, my pleasure. I I haven't seen one of these things, a real camera, and I don't know how long. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more? Maybe. There we go. You're welcome. And I just got word we're going to have a tiebreaker round. For those of you who were here last year, you know that those rounds can go a long time. So we're just waiting to see who the teams are that are going to be moving on to the next round. So what I want to do is oh, everyone's going to get to play. Are the points going to carry over? Okay. So the points from the first final round, though, those will carry over until through to the next round. So not everyone is going to be on an equal playing field for these 8. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the line and name the books, because I would like, if I was going to read, I would want to know which ones to read. So as I call out the books, I want to know like which one was a favorite, so you can. Really? Oh, I was told if you read the Hunger Games, you don't need to read the testing, 'cause it was just like the Hunger Games. Okay, so I've never read this. Who would recommend that I read the testing? Well, good thing I didn't listen to your recommendation, Coach. What about The Journal Belongs to Ratchet? Oh, the testing got more votes so far. What about Twerp? Counting by Sevens. Okay, so far the testing, was it Counting by Sevens and the testing are the two I should read. Eye of the Storm. A little better. Seeing Red. Someone are pretty enthusiastic. Skink No Surrender. That was a popular one. Jungle of Bones. Jack Strong Takes a Stand. That was another good one. By the way, talking with the author was very cool. Did y'all like that? Yeah, I like that too. The Night Gardener. Okay. Is it the 8th day? Is that what it's? Project Jackalope. And The Secret of Rover. I'm thinking the testing got a lot of votes. Yeah. Coach, I am really glad I didn't listen to you. Which one? Someone's Attic. Tesla's Attic. Is that? That seemed like a good one too. So there were a lot that you guys, it sounded like there were a number of good books to choose from, right? Yeah. What were y'all saying back there? Huh? Gotcha. So the one that didn't count was also a good book to read. That makes sense. Were they like action and adventure, pretty much all of them? No? Most of them? Okay. Are we almost ready to go with our next round? I know you guys are. I think we're...
Are your clickers working?
I'm sorry? Are y'all's clickers working? Oh yeah, they need ID. Okay, so the finalists.
Your ID is your school number without the 0 in front.
Your coach should know.
Your coach should know your school number without the 0 in front.
If you're not sure, come up and we'll tell
If you're not sure, you can come up and we can get that for you.
Bonita Middle School is 611. Calusa is 572. Challenger is 133. Diplomat is 772. Gulf is 671. Lexington is 351. Mariner is 722. And Paul Lawrence Dunbar is 161. Put in that ID and hit enter, and you should be good to go. Is it working?
Anyone's clicker's not working after entering the IDs we've given you. Okay.
Okay, I got it connected.
All right.
What? Oh, that's okay. We don't have to have it up there. Okay. Okay.
Okay, tiebreaker round number 1. Here we go. And trust me, we have like a gazillion tiebreaker questions if we need to, like last year. Yeah. We have 10 tiebreaker rounds if we have to use them. But there's only 5 questions per each round. So here's your first question. When J-Ro picked out his textbooks at the college bookstore, what made his stomach hurt? When J-Ro picked out his textbooks at the college bookstore, what made his stomach hurt? A, the idea that some sections of text were important to highlight and others were not. Question number 2. What genre of book did Mrs. Unger check out for Evangeline? What genre of book did Mrs. Unger check out for Evangeline? The answer was C, romance. Question number 3. What is Mrs. Fleck's first name? What is Mrs. Fleck's first name? B, Missy. Question number 4. How did Katie and David get away from Officer Sanders? How did Katie and David get away from Officer Sanders? Good job. The answer was D. They said they were hungry. Everyone got that right. Final question in our tiebreaker round. What was the real last name of Jason Boring? What was the real last name of Jason Boring? Answer was C, Bering. Jason Bering was his real name. And that's the end of the first tiebreaker round. While our judges are tabulating, we want to take a moment right now to recognize Charlene Martinez. She is our secondary media specialist of the year. All right, let's see if we've got a winner. So we're going to recognize our winners here in just a moment, but there's going to be some really cool prizes. Suncoast has given some really amazing gifts to our 3 teams that win along with the coaches. Also, of course, you get the medals, and then the winner is going to get the autographed book from the author Tom Woodward, right? Greenwood. I got the first, Greenwald. I got the first name right. So some really awesome prizes. But again, great job today. We did an incredible job. I'm so impressed with you, as are all of the adults that have come and seen how much you've had to read in order to get this far. And you've been enjoying it. And we were talking to these 2 guys who they traveled to different counties to do Battle of the Books. And they said that this group is by far like the most fun, the most laid back. There's no fighting teams, which is always a good thing. So certainly you guys should be very proud of yourselves for how you've handled friendly competition, as it should be. So thank you for handling yourself well. Again, great representation for Southwest Florida and for Lee County. So you guys should be very proud. Teachers should be proud. Parents should be proud of how your kids handled themselves. So they were saying that coaches are the ones that are fighting each other after their other battles. Sheesh. Oh, we got another tiebreaker round. All right. Are their clickers working, and do we need to re-enter? Okay. We may have to re-enter IDs again, so just giving you guys a heads up. Do you remember your IDs, or do we need to call them off again? Got it? Bye. Yeah, I know. Great job, guys. They're still doing assessments, so it may not be ready to enter IDs yet.
You should be able to enter your ID. Does it ask for an ID?
Nope.
No.
We're going to find out on the first question.
Oh, yeah.
You may not need to re-enter them, so
Yeah,
that's what
you're
we're
in.
gonna. They're connected, so we're ready. Here we go. Tiebreaker round number 2. Again, 5 questions. Here we go. At Aunt Linda's house, what is the poem on her coffee mug called? At Aunt Linda's house, What is the poem on her coffee mug called? Time is up. Correct answer is A, Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice was the correct answer. Question number 2. What is the name of the kingdom Jax is defending while playing video games with Billy? What is the name of the kingdom Jax is defending while playing video games with Billy? Time is up. Correct answer is B, Hyrule. Hyrule. How many missions? Oh, are you guys challenging? They're challenging whether the kingdom, they were defending Hyrule? Okay. Yeah, the question was, what was the kingdom Jax was defending when playing video games? Says
Jax borrowed Billy's computer and waited until his friend was fully engaged defending Hyrule against an army of giant spiders.
All right, question number 3. How many missions did Frank fly in the war? How many missions did Frank fly in the war? The answer is C, 25. 25 missions. Someone read her book. The Bowden's duffel bags were described as bulging sausages. What color were they? The Bowden's duffel bags were described as bulging sausages. What color were they? Answer is C, blue. The duffel bags were blue. Final question and tiebreaker round. According to Nick, what is a sign of the coming apocalypse? According to Nick, what is a sign of the coming apocalypse? Good job. The answer was B, his father cooking 2 days in a row. So that was the end of that tiebreaker round, number 2. Let's see if we're going to have to go to number 3. I said we're going to see if we have to go to number 3. Don't shoot the messenger. How many rounds did we go last year? We went 4 last year. But they were longer, so we're abbreviating them. We learned our lesson. Were they 20 question rounds or 10 question rounds? They were 10 question rounds last year. Yeah. While they're tabulating, everyone stand up, big stretch again, because I don't know yet if they're done. Just stretch it out, because I know sometimes it can be hard just sitting there. We have a winner! Okay, Marta from Suncoast Credit Union. If you can come up and help us with the award, since the Suncoast Credit Union was so gracious for the winners. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with 3rd place and then go up to 1st place. Okay, so after that, then we're going to do special recognition.
Run, Lisa, run.
Oh, she just got called out. Outstanding sportsmanship and also best creativity is going to be recognized as well. So, 3rd place winner, Paul Lawrence Dunbar. So 3rd place is getting, each team member as well as the coaches are going to be getting $50 gift cards from Suncoast Credit Union. Let you do it.
It's hilarious, though.
I'm just going to hand them.
Yeah.
And then make sure you guys all spread out. I know people want to get pictures. You guys scoot this way so that we can make sure we get you live streamed here. You guys want to slide in, though, so you guys can get a picture, and I know we've got the live streaming and stuff, so. So there's the camera if you guys want to take a look that way. Congratulations, guys. And they did it with a team of 5. That was what I was told to point out as well. Our second place winning team, and they're going to be getting $75 gift cards as well as medals, is Gulf Middle. Dapper Dolphins, right? Congratulations, Dapper Dolphins.
So are you with NB2 News? Wow, that's kind of prestigious.
Congratulations, coaches. Let you guys squeeze in for a picture. All right, that is your second place winner this year. Great job, guys. All right, and our first place winner, who's going to get $100 gift cards, the trophy, and the medals is Challenger Medal. You guys are also going to get a set of next year's Sunshine State books as well as the autographed copy of Crime Biters. Did you hear anything I said? I know, and that's okay. Yeah, okay, so you guys were excited. You're getting a set of next year's Sunshine State book, as well as the autographed copy of Crime Biters, as well as $100, as well as the medals, and the trophy, and some other swag. Here we go. Toaster with good luck.
Yes.
Who did not get one?
That was our. That's so great. I didn't even see that till now. They brought a toaster.
Oh, you're welcome. Congratulations. I'm gonna go with probably not.
Oh, sure to go.
And those are this year's champions. Congratulations, guys. So what we're going to get is the sportsmanship and also the creativity award certificates. They had to be printed up on a color printer, so that's what we're running to get right now.
In the meantime, can we get the clickers? Can we get the rest of the clickers, please?
If you've got clickers, we need to have those brought up over here, please.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're recognizing 2 teams for creativity and also 2 teams for sportsmanship. Okay, first up for creativity, we have Gulf Middle, the Dapper Dolphins. to give these to your coach because they've got actual names on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm going to hand these to you. Great job. Also for creativity, we've got Challenger Middle School. We'll have you guys line up like kind of next to them so we can get a picture with both of you guys. Lisa, I'm going to hand these to you because I've got the names on them and I don't. All right, and so these two teams won creativity. Congratulations. If you want to guys go have a seat. Our next two teams being recognized are for outstanding sportsmanship. So the first group, we have Fort Myers Middle School. Coaches should come up too. Coach, I'm going to hand these to you because I've got individual names on them. And we also have Lexington Middle School. Congratulations. I'm going to have you guys stand on that side. I'm going to give these to your coach. Coach, I'm going to hand these to you because they've got names on them. And if everyone's got all their pictures, that is going to do it for this year's Battle of the Books. Be sure you check the floor. Before you guys leave, be sure you check the floor around you and make sure you're not leaving anything. You're welcome. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations.